So, hello everybody. I'd like to start with my presentation. I'm a member of Meteorological and Hydrological Service of CROATIA, and this presentation is one of the two I will have during this work days. This is more about the establishment of Adriatic Marine Meteorological Center, abbreviation AMMC, and it stands so it is for Adriatic Sea Area. My name is Diana Klaric, and I am project manager from the 1st of January this year. And my presentation will have this part. Part of it you heard from Ivan, but generally I am a meteorologist. So, and also I'm working in IT department. And also I was working with numerical weather prediction and Aladdin model development. So I having different view about the same thing than my director or maybe Timo, and so this will be my type of presentation. And as today you put some questions about something, I put some more slides inside. So it has lots of slides, and I will maybe put some emphasis of some of them, or maybe we could discuss it during next 2 days, because this presentation will be here, and also people could download it if it is necessary. So first will be something about the nature of Adriatic Sea, why we love it and what to do with it, and about the user's needs, because this is how we started with ambitions, but also user needs. WIS Workshop for Marine, you heard a lot about it, so probably I will skip this slide. Goals and tasks of Adriatic Marine Meteorological Center, statuses of activities in last year, and this two parts of it about this WIS DCPC portal, and about expert team actions, what we did in the coordination part, and the plans. So this is it. And to make a link, so today, it's not night, but we are here at Doha, but our Adriatic Sea is here. So we are very glad that we have such picture like that, that link both of the areas, so to see how our two seas are quite similar shape, even the angle is very, very similar. So it's very nice to have it here, and to be here and to speak about my sea in front of you. It is from this Zoom, so it is we are all eastern neighbor of Italy. I used to say that people ask, where is Croatia? I said, do you know where is Italy? Everybody knows. So we are sharing the sea with Italy. It is for me the best. So Croatia is here. They are sharing this sea, and also Slovenia, Bosnia. There is Montenegro here, Albania. Those are our friends and partners. And differences between two these areas are. It works, I hope. Okay, that this sea has several main ports: Bari, Ancona, Venice, and Trieste in Italy, and Rijeka, Zadar, Split, Dubrovnik in Croatia, and Durrës in Albania. This sea is bathymetry, so it's quite shallow at Venice, and it is deep, more than 1,200 meters at opposite to the cross between the Dubrovnik and Bari. So it is different. See that it looks like in the picture. It really has some life inside. And if one look at to the some cross section from Italian colleague, so even the salinity it differs between this parts of this northern parts, where Po River in Italy, where it is less salinity, and then in the southern parts linked to the Mediterranean Sea. So concerning the climate of this sea, there is some simulation of the sea surface temperature 1 year before, February 2012. So during the summer, we have 29 degrees of temperature, up to 29 degrees. Usually it's 24 to 27, but at the winter it's quite cool sea. And this is some simulation how this looks like. So and how this cold water from the rivers are changing, interfering with the sea. And what type of the weather? Oh, look at it. This was in Croatia last year, 1 year ago, so it was frozen. So the sea was 4 degrees or 5, but the coast was frozen from the sea water. So even it is salt water, but anyhow.
How do you correlate the high salinity in the south? Is it to the sea surface temperature or that there is a fresh water coming from the north?
This is fresh water, very big river, the Po River. So this is also big origin of the internal sea. So this has a lot of influence from the hydrology, and this is important for planning our activity, because hydrology to have influence in Adriatic Sea maybe more than in some other areas. So it was my picture. I would like to show you how it looks 1 year ago at the same coast. So from 29 degrees, too hot to swim, to +4 and the frozen base. Okay. So coming from the meteorology part, we have a strong wind events in Croatia as well. And this is, for instance, wind speed analysis, reanalysis of ECMWF. ECMWF has a main meteorological center in Europe. They also issue reanalysis data, and according to that, one could study the climate over area, not just by observation, but also by this simulation of analysis. And this is 40 year of analysis data, and we also provided downscaling of this analysis, because this analysis has some resolution which is not the best one, so we are downscaling to the 2 kilometer, but generally resolution area 40 is not. It was about 100 or 50 kilometers, it depends also. I think this was 50 kilometer resolution, so we downscaling to have atlas of the wind. And in principle, this is just simulations, but if we compare it with the climatology data in the cooperation part, you could see, for instance, that if you like to see in climatology number of days with a strong breeze, it is about 6 before scale, or number of days with 8 before. So there are places like in Seine, it has every second, so 131 days per year that has strong breeze, and 42 days per year that has even gale. So it is warm sea, but there is influence of hydrology, meteorology, oceanography in this sea. So it is very important for us to understand why this sea need special care from meteorologists and for oceanographers, and to have a good and quality of the products because of this variability, yearly variability, seasonal, and also by extreme events that occur. So this is from that. Coming from the what's going on, who lives there. So Croatia, this is from Croatian public information. So we, as a population of 4.4 million people, but there are 30,000 people who has license to run the boats. So, and also our coastline is quite long one, because we have 1,246 official islands, and almost 50, 47 are populated. And also there are some national parks, so we try to preserve nature around the Adriatic Sea, and also regarding to the ships, there are 1,100 so ships registered, and there are also many yachts, and during the year we have visited over 55,000 foreign yachts. I don't know what to say about this. This is official from authorities, but they're our customers. So people come to Croatia, and people have very valuable also families, but also boats, and they are using us all the information they could get. So this is what is important. Also concerning the traveling of the goods and other, there is probably some simulation of routes. So ships are entering the Otranto doors, and they're mostly going to the big ports and the north. It's normal because these ports are entrance to the Europe. So most of the ships are going toward the north, and then they're exchanging those carriers. This is the reason why European Commission we have in December conference about agenda of growing activities in Adriatic Ionian Sea, so it is a Greek Sea here, and they decided that it is very important to understand and to address the problem of vulnerability of this sea, and they would like to suggest to the International Maritime Organization that they should declare Adriatic Sea as a particularly sensitive sea area. So this is an initiative that probably it will pass because of all this specificity in this sea. So small sea, but lot of activities and also a lot of influence between the people and nature. Okay. So this is about, it was just my introduction. I'm sorry that I was going to be longer, but I think that you should also learn something about my country and my area. So this is European Commission. Okay. So what about users? This is the Herald of Croatia. So Ministry of Maritime Affairs addressed to us and said, okay, we are very satisfied that you would like to provide more information because we have a task, and our tasks are regional safety on Adriatic Sea, because very big area is under the responsibility of Croatia. And they listed us a list of the tasks they should provide, and they did assistance from meteorology and oceanography. So search and rescue operations, maritime operational services, pollution prevention and combating, SOLAS, so we already heard, safety on the seas, and also this is for the big ships, but also they inform us that it's very important that we provide information for non-SOLAS vessels, which means those smaller ones that are carrying around. And these are some recommendations from this global maritime distress and safety system, that it should be also a system of the warning not just for the big ships, but also for those below 150 gross tons or something like that. So these are system exists, but our government and ministry already know that the system which is already international, it is working well, that it is not sufficient, that the type of the traffic and the population, especially tourists, which doesn't know a lot about the place where they come, so they are not informed well about it. And also, they would like that we, if we will work on it, that we sharing more intelligent data and effective dissemination, because current system of exchange of information is going further, and also old systems are very good, traditional, and it should work, but we should introduce more new methods also. We are working in meteorology, we know how to do it. Okay, so this is from the user request. But also, already WMO has a program about it, so it's not something that we should invest, but we should just apply. So I took this slide from somebody, and this is also description of this marine meteorology and oceanography program from WMO. What are the main tasks? So to provide operational maritime oceanographic forecast, warnings, and maritime climate. So to understand the system, and also to be able to fulfill recommendations and standards and procedures for the maritime observing, data management services system, safety at sea and coastal area, and also management and disaster risk reductions, and also to support climate research, detection, and prediction for climate variability. And this system is also very sensitive for climate variability. I could show you some examples afterwards. So this slide is not mine. So WMO slide was MMOP. So and these are also already listed main of those elements of coming from the observations, research, and the service of information system. So actually we could find all of our plans in these plans of MMOP. So we are just here to think about it, how to implement it. So this slide will be for the further development. I don't want to discuss it. So coming from that, we know that all the system of observations are part of WIS. And this WIS try to join global observing system on the space as well, on this hydrological cycle, but also these acronyms came from global climate observation system, global oceanographic, and global terrestrial. So these three systems should also be part of the WIS, but we already find here some elements that are linked to the activity in marine meteorology, and especially for this AMMC. So if one would like to introduce WIS, what does it mean in national or sub-regional level? First, to understand who are all the providers of the observation system in your country, and understand what are the governments and the mandate of these who are providers, why they do that, what are their responsibility. As Ivan said, nobody likes to step on anybody's responsibility. We like to join it and to have due quality, and to understand the standards, and to understand operability, and not to take jobs from others, because all these institutes has a knowledge and has tradition, and will be good support at each activity if we are going to do it together and not against each other. So these are the WIS recommendations. This is not my slide. Part of it probably, but mostly it is about understanding who are WIS provider, and try to understand and to bring them together. And as we are speaking about WIS and meteorology, we are always speaking about us and our neighbors. So it's a sub-regional or bigger regional cooperation. And also one of idea of us as a future WIS provider to encourage regional partners to implement WIS practice and principles, because they are not coming from WMO. They don't know about it. Maybe they are not a member of these bodies, but it is important that to explain them the system exists. So you are partners no matter what. So it's either up to you to see, do you feel that you should contribute and you have some benefit from the system. And also one of these for this WIS is to standardize distribution and ensure the quality management via this structure. And this is this structure, so I'll leave it in my presentation. That presentation has some meaning, but you already heard a lot about this, so I'm not speaking anything more. So we are here. We have all the elements which are necessary, and this is after what we heard about it. We could define the goals of the system, and when we started to work, even explain us there were many intermediate steps, but just now at the mid of 2012 we totally understood what really we should achieve, and we produced a list of the goals for AMMC. So inventory of and utilization of existing maritime meteorological and oceanographic infrastructure. So inventory as a first step. Processing and quality management of maritime meteorological oceanographic data and products, including metadata via WIS system. Bringing together National Meteorological and Hydrological Service and partner organizations. And we understand in the first step that it's a hydrographic, oceanographic institutes, and academia. Speaking about universities, a lot of universities in this area. And building our common information systems for wider users community like maritime traffic and risk management authorities, Navy, coastal and maritime enterprises, media, tourism, public and private enterprises, and interdisciplinary research community. So there are huge set of the users of this data. This is how we see it. So main tasks of Adriatic Marine Meteorological Center, as we see it now, we decided that we first should think in the three different areas. First, that what will be DCPCRA MMC. It will be virtual international center hosted by our service. So we will not build a building or something. So we will be virtual center, and we would like as a first step to be operative retrieval and distribution of observations and products through WIS responsibility and functionality. Why that? Because this is really achievable. And it will be done according to the known rules, and it is really not just a quick win, but it is already here. Everything is ready for provide that. So why? So this was the first and international duty for us. But if you like to do that duty, this to be DCPC just to be retrieval and distribution system, nothing more. You still should have a good idea, inventory of data and products over the area. And we established system of expert teams, and expert teams have that as a permanent duty, as a first permanent duty to understand in that area where are the data. Also, on top of this international, there are also national level of ambitions, and for national level, we would like to be operative center in that some sense, to have catalog of methods, observations, and products, and to try to synthesize national measurements for Adriatic Sea area. We, as Ivan mentioned, we have several institutes, maritime oceanographic in Croatia. Each of them have separate type of measurements, and it is very important to understand the rules and the conditions for exchange of data, or at least exchange of metadata. Also, there are questions about operative products and procedure for atmospheric and oceanographic parameters, in particular for monitor of warning maritime related hazards. So, something it's very important to know. There are level of cooperation in terms of focus, but we could always say that there is higher level of responsibility if we are speaking about the warnings. So maybe we will reach higher level of cooperation when we will establish system of the warning, because system of the warnings is something that is, I will show you afterwards, which exists, which is probably not so alive like we would like with the elements what we already have in the system. So to establish good system of the warnings, there should be some operative procedures between the different partners. And quality monitoring of national product, this is something that we as a meteorological service used to work anyhow, so we would like to do this job for all these maritime products. And also we would like to support in sharing of IT and high performance computing resources, in terms that, of course, if there are operational responsibility, you need high-end computers, and this neural network, and for all that it will be duplication of effort in some small country like Croatia. So if we would like to share something, it's really ideal to find where to share. So not to be owner of their work, but at least we could share something and provide some service. And especially because we would like to have efficient daily maritime products. Very efficient. Okay. So what we did in last year, you already heard from Ivan. So we have a kick-off meeting in May with from the leadership of WMO, and it was declared as a pilot project for sub-regional marine data and products. There are partners from Regia, and so Italy, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and some observers from Romania. They are at the Black Sea. Also, we reached some Zagreb declaration about the establishment of AMMC, and who will be hosted by ALMET service. Also, we had expert meetings, because the idea is that we work through expert teams in October in Split, and Split is the name of the town. So it's not splitting, it's joining. So don't worry. If you see the word split, it doesn't mean to split anything, even not banana. I'm sorry. Okay, so it is. So we have two meetings during that. It was expert team from Croatia and also partners. I will speak more about it. It's just this slide to show what was done in 2012. And also we have implementation of WMO information system and web portal. And I will speak a little bit more in the next slide about it. So what about it? These are prerequisites from WIS DCPC from WMO. If you like to be DCPC, there are rules. There are documents and there are rules. And there are a list of prerequisites from left side, and here from right you can see how and where we reach it. So, agree with WMO program on need for the particular DCPC. Even already explained it. We started very early during this Eastern European initiatives. Inform WMO on wish to become DCPC, also done 2008, 2009 by our application. Select primary GISC after consultations with GISC in region 6. So during the 2011 and 12 we decided that we will be linked to GISC in Offenbach in Germany. And install relevant WIS software, and so we started with a jumpstart meeting, kickoff, jumpstart meeting, working days. So Timo was with us, and we started to speak about it, what we will achieve and how to do it. And so during that period we started to install the geoportal. We apply for domain for this, so this is now new domain www.ammc.hr for Croatia, Hrvatska. And also we decided to have contacts with something like that. So to be full member, you have to just pass some auditing, and these auditing rules exist, and we started with the auditing. These auditings were somehow something that I will explain about it in 2 days period when we started to work on the practice, what are lesson learned. So this auditing still is underway, and we had a delay because we didn't understand completely what are the functionality of the part of the software which is there. And the plans are to have set up the metadata directory to be harvested by GISC. So it is planned now this month, and start operations. This is linked to the prerequisite for this, and this is our staff. So generally we are following the to-do list somehow. But about DCPC portal, this is DCPC portal. Well, actually this is DCPC portal. This is how it looks like when you put some search Aladdin. Because I was working in Aladdin, I think in Qatar you already have also Aladdin from Metro France International. I know that during my work in Aladdin, because we're always happy to have some royalties from Qatar, and I could say that we are sharing that now in community. So when we put some product metadata there, and the system of this portal is able, this is public software, is able also to locate a domain. So what I put there was some Aladdin products, not all, some, to learn how to do it. And the system is able to find it between our national meteorological data and other products. So the search is working, and even for some of the products, if you click it, you will see the zone, what it is covering. So Aladdin model, 10-meter wind over the split area, for instance, was here. But going back to really, I'm sorry, next portal. Okay, so we had, as how we started, we have job staff, trainer, Timo was with us. So it was meeting between the people from the focus division, people from maritime focus sector, people from IT. and bosses to understand, okay, what we agree for. So he explained us all this procedure of WIS and how to do it. And also we started to implement this metadata ISO standard 19115. So, and how to do it with oceanography interoperability and things like that. So first steps are finished, and but we have a task to do to implement more metadata editors with synchronization with GIS for pull and push actions, to monitor DCPC products, and also to understand the difference between the partners who will provide data and the end users. So all these systems should be built still not perfect. So this is the portal, and we will speak in 2 days how we reached this status to have portal, and what was our work and what was public software there, and what was suggestions from experts. Okay. So, as I said, we had 2 meetings of expert teams, one for the Croatian and one international. And both of them were in October, and we discuss matters which are interesting for both community to understand how they could help each other. So concerning the meteorologists, we said, okay, maybe it's time for us to have more products for marine, because there is possibility from data which are products which we produce to put more products, and because products will be also visible through all these WIS and GISC authorities. So it is good for us as a service, and also good to have a standardized procedure. Also, we understood from the meeting there are some users from the ministry, from the Navy, that we also should have better links with them, because links on the high level of directors are good, and the ministers and deputies, but you start to work with people with some call it dirty hands, people who are working really with data and products, and they need something or they learn something from you. So it's very important to have this expert teams as a level of mid authorities in the services. So people really who works on the topics, not the bosses, but also they should have some authority. So what come up for the meteorology, that Croatian Navy, we are part of NATO, that they said, okay, but there is possibility for observations and measurements on coastal radar network. They have coastal radar network for Navy, but they said, oh, maybe we could put some meteorological station there. Why not? So they already find interest to work with us even more. Also, harbor masters, they were very happy that system will be maybe alive, and there are a lot of ships reports coming to the harbor, and they have the books or something when they make reports on the weather on the ship route, and they said, okay, maybe we should make some more automatic procedure that this information should enter to your system more in better IT ways. So the idea was really coming from the users to us. Okay, we could work more. Coming for the oceanography, well, we didn't have a lot of oceanography users, but providers from institutes, and they said that, okay, we are institutes. We are not used to work in operational mode, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So there are products, but not all of them are monitored properly. Not all of them are maintained. You know, when you're coming from people who are working with the products, you have releases of the models, releases of the software, but if they have projects, they will work on it. After that, it is run without any monitoring. So products are there, but quality are decreased. So things like that, people started to understand when you speak about operational implementations. And also, they said they have some oceanographic archive of some projects data that could be maybe good for some other researchers in the area. So there are possibility to share also information about this data between the possible partners in the area. So even show you already what we have a web page. So Met Service, we have Metal HR web service, and we have a lot of products, synoptic charts. We also have products simulations from the models. For instance, we are very proud with this 2-kilometer wind forecast coming from the chain of Aladdin models. So we have a downscaling of wind to the 2 kilometers, and because of a lot of islands, it's very important. And we have sub areas, and people download that at the PCs, download it at smartphones, because the formats are very cheap, simple, but people, fishers used to use it. And this is very important. First, we put it 5-6 years ago as temporary products. And when we'd like to withdraw it, we have a lot of emails. Oh, no, we are going to the mission with that. We are going to the daily jobs with that. And also there is one system in Europe called Meta Alarm. And also we put information about some warnings linked to this special event. For instance, this was example of Meta Alarm for some days, I think in May. This was this example. There are warnings about a severe wind in some areas. And why it is important? Because European customers, and especially tourists, if they start to work with, come to some areas, they already have Meta Alarm in their country. So they used to use it, and now also they are checking our web pages and understand what type of a product. It's very important. Also, coming from our responsibility in this SOLAS convention, we produce 3 times per day warning and synoptic analysis for weather forecast, visibility at sea stage, and weather reports. And we put them in the full languages, and this is part of our web page. And also the same information is disseminated by radio to the harbor, and so this is very often official warning for the marine in Croatia, and it has long tradition. And what are we doing? We are using this definitions of the sub areas for North, Central, and Southern Adriatic Sea, and this is how it is. But there is this system of SOLAS, international one, as we today saw, and there is Adriatic Sea as a part of Mediterranean area. And when you look into the Mediterranean area, you will see that also there is some distribution in it, but it looks a little bit different from our distribution. But what we as a meteorologists and oceanographers, we could say, okay, but maybe Greeks has a better subdivision of areas than we, because our are a little bit rough. So what in practice we are doing? We are doing this division of our sea in these 3 areas, and for the local focus, we also produce the very small sub-areas. And we find it more proper for the public warnings in our country. But even if we think that we are clear what we are doing, there are customers who said, your warning said, okay, on the open sea. What is for you open sea? We have a lot of islands. And for us, open sea, I think everybody has a different opinion. So it's a long process, even if you put some warnings, to define in proper words what are you talking about. So especially if it is in text format. So these are reasons why the graphical products are much more valuable. Also, we introduced, this is in Croatian, now don't panic, I could not provide it in English, I'm sorry, that we decided, okay, this is SOLAS convention, that these are the conditions for the warning. So, sea state 5 and the wind 8 buffers. But actually, for the smaller boats, it is too strong recommendation. So, for the small boats, we have a threshold value of 6 buffers. And even that, it is something that we introduced because of need of the customers. Coming from this Meta Alarm, I explain you, so this is today Meta Alarm. So almost all Europe is covered with this Meta Alarm information. And also this system has their own alarm about coastal events. So here I zoom Spain for today, and there are some warnings about coastal events and some areas in Spain. And those are systems of introduced European Union, this is Organization of Met Services in Europe, And these are quite a new features. So it's just some services introduce this, and there are still not ideas what does it mean. What is it, wind, or it is waves, or floods, or what's going on. So just something that was already introduced, and it stands in parallel with this solar system. And this is what I'm saying. So we have a national system of warning, we have a solar system of warning, we have geometry system of warning. All the system exists, so people could have a cluster of information, cluster of warnings, maybe better than to be without information. Also, there are some systems that could there are some features like aqua alta, high sea tides, that could produce severe weather in Adriatic Sea, like here. This is Venice, St. Mark's Square, and people are sitting, swimming, I don't know, trying to operate. So in Adriatic Sea, there are some meteorological oceanographic features that leads to severe weather for the towns, because height of the sea is higher than it was in the time when those towns were built. So we have very often this high sea levels, aqua alta, as Italian used to say, due to mesoscale system and Adriatic Sea, so very low benzene pressure and long-lasting Scirocco wind. This is south-southwest, southeast wind, southeast winds that produce the aggregation of the water on the north of the Adriatic Sea. Also, we have some type of method tsunamis, if you could believe it. And also the coastal towns are flooded. And this method tsunamis looks like that. And we have interpretation from the oceanograph that's just small, very short time, about few hours of change of mean sea level pressure should produce this oscillation, but not, it is stuck there. This oscillation of the sea, that it comes very rapidly, and it diminishes in a few hours. So this is something that this aqua alta could be predicted because it is a previous phenomena, but this one is almost unpredictable because it requires a lot of measurements and a very high resolution of the models, and it's really something that it is discussed on this oceanographic conferences. Who has it? What are the reasons for the elements? So this was for this national presentations of the expert teams, but we have also meeting of expert teams in the area, so services, oceanographs and meteorologists from Italy, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Montenegro. Unfortunately, Anvelians were not there. And we started to discuss about the survey of existing and required marine meteorology services, existing and planning observation networks, and identifying critical gaps, and this what to do with legislative and partners, who are the partners, with what they could provide. So there are presentations about measurements in the area. These are part of some European projects. They could provide data, but data has different, they have variability in the frequency of the dissemination. So up to the system of dissemination, or up to the need for this variability, need of the frequency of this measurement. So those systems exist at the Mediterranean and Adriatic seas, and also, especially for instance, satellite data also available, so scatometer daily winds are also available. A lot of measurements are there, but I don't know how it was used in the practice. Also, intelligence colleagues already said that system coming from the large scale to the very shallow scale, so very narrow, requires a lot of coupling between the system of the observations for the sea and observation on the meteorology, and also coupling with the model system, models on the of the resolution of the global models toward the very high resolution models. And what does it mean? For instance, most important part is part of the data simulation itself. So proper coupling between oceanographic models and meteorological models, but both systems should be able to read the most recent data through sophisticated data simulation system. So these are the challenges, and those systems doesn't really exist. They exist for some parts of it in research part. There are some products in the web pages, but they are far for having for high quality. Coming from the Croatian partners also show that there are models already could use downscaling of the wind and down to the very high resolution, then produce also significant wave heights, significant so for the whole area, or zoom on over the small areas. This is split down here, so those are, we have 3 rows of islands in front of one town, for instance. So, and the difference of the waves are significant. Also here on the northern Adriatic Sea, and also for the central Adriatic. Okay, and also there are simulations of the sea surface temperature. So the simulations of the global model to up to the 50 meters per resolution. So the system exists at the institute. There are one institute in Croatia, but they are not operational. So elementary knowledge is there, but how to make it operational, and is it necessary to have it every day or on demand? How to do it? Yeah. So these were presentations during that meeting. And one of also, it's very important, the simulation of sea pollution hazards. So you remember from my presentation where are the ship routes. So either along the Adriatic Sea going toward the Trieste or Venice. And what's going on with, for instance, oil spill if it happens during this route, where it will finish in every situation. Here we have these LNG terminals. So there are some in Croatia quite good chance that if something will happen inside this island system, that it could happen here near the Rijeka and this LGN terminal here. So simulations could give the type of information where the system should expand and things like that. But these are simulations just in scientific part. But to provide it operationally, this is the question. Okay. So during that meeting, we reached the point that we should have priorities of cooperation. Because, okay, world is everything exists, but we should have some priorities. So what are meteorology, hydrology, and oceanography, what I said. Why hydrology? Is because of this big seas, yes? And sea pollution simulations. These 4 things should be in our priorities. And so how to do it? We should have concept document, what really agreed what we would like to achieve, and roadmap and execution plan for next year. And also we get a task to contribute to every European Commission projects, and also try to find these potentials for the funds in Europe and things like that. So this I took from. So action plans is provided by in assistance with WMO. We try to understand the status of DCPC and the link of DCPC with some checkpoints with the meetings in area 6, and also with WIS and WIGOS. Survey of the catalog of the products. This is some of the permanent actions. And development of concept documents, and at the end, and also there are also our plan to have the trainings for the developing metadata. How they will partners will make a metadata, and how they will upload. So the idea is to provide the training in the second half of this year about for the partners. And then at the end coming to users. So how we will register users to the system. So not as partners plus users, and how we will provide data for them and how to reach them. And so this is a plan for 3 years. So in general, plans look like that. We will try to work on transfer of knowledge. This is what we are doing now. We have planned to update really this portal and link to the DCPC portal training of partners, assembling on data, and register the users, and monitoring, permanent monitoring of data and products and associated retrieval systems. And also, we have a permanent duty that these members of expertise we should develop a concept document on AMMC, agreement with the partners. We need a legislation between partners to understand, so some memorandums of understanding should be signed between the members, and also common application to EU funds. And links with European projects on meteorology, hydrology, oceanography, and also to understand what are the gaps in the system of observation services and system, and also to understand future partners, so not now, not the next 2 years, but maritime climatology and biology. And this is coming. So here it's a traditional ship, so a sailing ship from Croatia, and this is really, really no Photoshop, but it is really a shape of one of the islands in Croatia. No Photoshop.
May I just, sorry, just say that the table you have seen, this milestone, is not the same as the actual, because this is at that time when the expertise was. And in the meantime, the days changed. For instance, WIS meeting was certainly in no, the executive council was not known June, then it shifted to May. And this what you have seen with this small destroyed atmospheric tsunami. It has 3 millibursts. 3 millibursts of pressure make resonance in the sea. What are measured with meters. And our colleague from the research just followed this disturbance in pressure and correlated it with disturbance of the sea waves. Wind of the sea. It was very high correlation. Even this very weird things happens, and this explains why flooding can cause what was just 3 minutes. Only 3. But this was, very short time impact.
It was like resonantia. Resonance. It was resonance. What kicked the system? Just 3 minutes. So they call it metal tsunami, but it's such a rare event, but severe. Okay. So.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, Diana, for this very comprehensive presentation.
It was shorter, but you have some questions in between, and I try to edit more examples. Why not? Because we have them.
We are coming in quite quick in time. I think it's 4 o'clock now, so I'll just open the floor briefly for questions, and then we can wrap up for today.
Just fast questions. We had the other time when we're running under 2 kilometers.
We run it at the chain. We have 8 kilometer, 5 kilometer, and 2 kilometer. Yes.
Still the model, still?
It is for the dynamics, not for the physics. So you need a physics for 2 kilometers, but dynamics is very robust, and this type of dynamics could survive this 2 kilometers. So for the wind, we run it for many, many years.
Another question, because when you go in the sea surface temperature, when you split your model and we go on model with 0.5 kilometers, still you have some significant response from the model. Did you
model is from oceanographic team, so I could not take. I am meteorologist and I could not respond. Our plan is to have full two-way nesting between this oceanographic and meteorological model, and it is a good plan in terms of science, but it's very hard to obtain because we are operational centers and they are research institutes. So they don't have staff to do maintaining of this system. So we don't have still agreement. Should we run it and then they will help us in maintaining the system. So things like that. And many things in it should be on demand. For instance, this simulation of hazard events and the simulation of the oil spill things should be run on demand. Who will do it? Institutes will not do it. Maybe if they have time, if it is not a weekend, but things like that. So, but the idea is also how we will produce this warning. We don't have a system for producing the warnings. Where to put this information? How? So this is really a challenge, not just for our service, but okay, there are, when you have a need, people will find you. This is okay. But still, maybe we should have really plan how to provide it and also put it for the public, because public should feel that we are doing that for them. It's good to have it more regular basis, and then when something appears, people will learn the system and already know how to react. It's too hard to wait for this some event and then have procedure.
For the regular way of warnings that are discussed. You're looking beyond that. You're looking just to improve the whole system for the actually for the maximum users that can be involved.
Just I want to know how many marine stations will be able to how many types of people?
There are temperature, sea temperature, sea surface temperature is regular, but we have few stations and many problems with the maintaining of these stations, because you could establish that the maintenance is very costly, and so, but there are also sea surface temperature. So we have for sea surface temperature just few points online, and others are every 6-hour measurement, so it's manually. So the system is not automatic still.
The reading temperature. What are temperature?
Inside, this is from the oceanographic institutes. I don't know how many levels they have.
We have sea surface level of the sea.
Sea surface temperature.
Temperature at sea surface level.
There are air surface temperature. There are air surface temperature. There are land surface temperature.
Yes.
Yeah. But there are also profilers. Several institutes have the profilers, but these profilers are not working operationally, just when they have some projects and some special agreements. So on demand. So there are these profilers like looking like seals, but they are mainly to understand not climatology, but the nature of the sea, but not in operational mode. Just
In drought, as you mentioned, what scarce can be polluted how many stations we can put it in drought for the scale of the sea marine station? The scale.
This is really, I really, because
you know, as a meteorologist, the scale of
I know the answer. I know the answer.
as for marine.
I know the answer. The main thing is that we have satellite measurements. Yes. So actually, currently, surface measurements are mostly work also as calibrators. So usually you put as much as you could that you could properly maintain. So it's better to have few and maintain it properly and be calibrator for all the measurements from the satellite. And this is the main task. It's not the main task to have many measurements, but have quality of these you could I'm just saying you should have several, but the main thing is that they should be maintained properly, and the quality of them will reflect the quality of your to reflect the quality of your assimilation of satellite data, because with this data you will calibrate satellite data. This is what I'm saying. So you have a very high resolution of satellite measurements of sea surface temperature and also brightness, and I also think I don't know about the salinity, but okay, and but to use it you need classical observation, classical measurements. So I think this is the message from WMO for the satellite data and also for the other, that you need good data for
just to answer, this is just about today's effort in national and international. To bring the whole players who are familiar about the measurement method and to optimize. We didn't do that. There are in the process.
Yeah, it's just started.
So it's and this is the synergy what we are one ocean and optimization of the observation method and also calibration.
So here in this slide you have this system of the observations and difference between the observation for the large scale and the very high resolution. So these are the Italians show us the plans that they have for several institutes. But these are just a plan.
Because there are our partners institutes that have very expensive instruments for it, also making a profile. But it is not an operational based on operational. What we would like that to be together here with government to see what equipment is really on operational basis and could be performed and because as you know, people on the sea has a very short life. Sorry, ship. Yes, we have ship and ship measurement, but it is not a part of the service. The Oceanographic Institute has this ship. And also hydrographic road surface station we have.
Yeah.
I mean surface or sea surface temperature.
For marine station, marine station, not meteorology station. Marine station.
Yes.
What you mean with the marine?
Marine only parameters of ocean. Current, temperature, salinity,